Yeah, yeah, yeah. So many lies that you hear from the net, they don't get her respect. She reporting the truth, not a check. You want an unbiased opinion straight from the chest, not a bit accomplice or someone here for a check. Tune in, these are thoughts from a lawyer on a mission who goes so hard it's like she works on commission. Trolls in the comments might say she tripping cause they lack the knowledge, they don't know they missing. Got a couple current events that you like, wanna know about law from the eyes. Tired of all these blogs running lies because their agendas are disguised. Tune in to the intellect, cause I'm sure y'all missing all the facts of the case that she steady is gifting. Someone here for the people, man, it's so uplifting. If you ain't subscribed yet, then you just omitting facts.
Hello, everyone. It is Pam Esquire, also known as Your Law Intellect, and I'm back. I am back from the trial of Megan Pete versus Milagro Cooper, or Milagro Grams. And this morning, or this afternoon, earlier this afternoon, I discussed the testimony that happened in the morning. So once we finish this live, if you didn't get a chance to catch that live, make sure that you go back and watch that video, because I'm not going to talk about those people right now. As you see, my eyes are red and burning and I am tired, but I said I will not close my eyes until I tell you all about what happened the afternoon with Megan Thee Stallion Pete. Yep, she took the stand. You know, she had her nice suit on. I'm like, where'd she get her suits from? She is making the courtroom her runway. Okay, she probably could have got a brand deal or something while she was walking up there in these suits she got on. But she came up there, she was energetic and smiley and everything. And of course, she starts out and she gives her background. So I want you all, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, because I'm going to get right into this, because we have a lot to get into, a lot of pretty interesting responses to some questions. But I don't just want to get into just the salacious comments. I do want to try to encompass the entirety of her testimony. And that's what I'm going to do. So you guys know, when she took the stand and she swore to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And she sat down and they said, give me your background. So she lets us know she came with a good family. She lived with her mom and her dad, and sometimes she lived with a grandgirl or her grandmother. Everyone was super, super supportive. And she like immediately got teary-eyed when she started talking about her family. She immediately got really, really emotional. And we'll get into, that a little bit more. So then they asked her, well, what makes you happy? So she said she currently likes to hang out with T. Ferris. We talked about him yesterday. He was in the courtroom. She said she has like 10 to 11 animals, including cats and dogs. She has a turtle. And then she likes to hang out with her man. And she said it just like that. She liked to hang out with her man. You know, the one they keep posting and stuff, and you guys all up in her business on her man. And she says she likes to be by herself so she can write music. And then they said, well, Meg, what do you do? She said, oh, well, I'm a rapper. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a songwriter. And sometimes I'm an actress too. So they asked her, well, why do you have the stage name Megan Thee Stallion? She said, because I'm from Texas. And in Texas, they call the tall, curvy girls stallions. So she named herself Meg the Stallion. Well, why did you want to be a rapper, Meg? She said her mom was a rapper. And she started writing music herself at 7 years old, but it was kind of like undercover. Nobody knew that she was rapping or trying to write. And she said until she got about 18, where she let it be known that she could write and she was rapping. And then that's when her mom acknowledged, and her mom did end up being her manager. She describes her mom as a strong person, a good mom, a provider. She knew how to make best out of the situation. She was treated like a princess. She didn't even know that they didn't have money. She didn't know they were broke because of how well that she was treated. Her mom was everything to her, her manager, sometimes her stylist. She said her mom was her brain. She didn't have to think when her mom was around. And so they asked her what happened to her mom. So that's when everybody had to grab a tissue because it was a very emotional moment where she started talking about her mom. And you know that her mom passed away. And I don't know if everyone knows the whole story of what happened with her mom passing away, but she gave that information on the stand. So when they asked her what happened to her mom, she didn't mind sharing it with us. She said that her mom was a very smart woman and she talked really fast. And then she started noticing that her mom started talking really slow. So they didn't really know what was going on. And so by this time, Meg got her own apartment and her mom called her and her mom was talking, you know, lagging and still talking very slow. And her mom was like, I think something is wrong. So she went to the hospital. She says she goes to the hospital as well. And she finds out her mom, they said she had a mild stroke. So she's not thinking, oh, she's like, okay, you know, she knows it's not anything that's good, but she's not thinking this is just her mom's gonna end up dying from this. So she said they send her to get an MRI because you know they have to try to look and see what's going on. And they notice that her mom has a brain tumor. So then they take her mom to a bigger hospital because she got this brain tumor. They go over to this bigger hospital and she says she goes to the back and next thing you know, she finds out her mom is having seizures. So they give her some type of sedation, probably like a induced coma to try to stop the seizures. And she went brain dead. So then they said after she went brain dead, she was on life support and Meg had to make the decision. She's like, what do I do? My mom's brain dead. She's just laying there. It's nothing that can really be done. And so she had to make the hard decision of taking her mother off life support. It's very, very sad. Very, very sad situation. And so, yeah, we got that background on what happened with her mom. And she said the thing was with her career, when she starts getting into conversation about her career, she said that her career and her mom's passing happened at around the same time. So it's like her dad passed away at 14. She finally gets to a place where her career is starting to skyrocket and come up. And she's at a point where now she can help her mom, who has somewhat, you know, been a hard worker her whole life, but they didn't really have. And now she help out and contribute. And as soon as she's doing good, her mom passed. This internet is horrible in here. We might blank out a few times because this internet goes in and out, but I promise I'll be back. So then she talks about how she started, and she started her career by doing ciphers online. Did you guys know that? She would get on there and rapping stuff online. And she said it took off and it became successful. So from there, her career grew. She has her own foundation, the Pete Thomas Foundation. She's won a ton of awards. She's won Grammys. She's done the NAACP. She's done BET. She's done all of these different awards. So she's been fairly successful and she's proud of all of her awards, but she is most proud of when she gets recognition for her foundation. She graduated from Texas Southern University and she did take up healthcare. That's what her degree is in. She was in school when her great grandmother passed away and her mother passed away. So the great grandmother passed away 2 months before her mother passed away. So she was in school and they knew that she was in school. So she said she still was going to work hard and she still was going to graduate. And so that's what she did. And so she went to healthcare because she said she watched her grandmother take care of her great grandmother. And she said family members that don't really know what they're doing take care of family members, and how old people are mean and like the bickering and stuff that they had. She just thought, like, is everybody household like this when you a caregiver and you take care of your family? And she said, so they didn't really know much about the healthcare system and all of that. So that was what sparked her to want to go get her degree in that field. Okay, so that is the basic background of Megan Pete that many of us did not know. So then they asked him, do you know Milagro? She said, no, I never met her. She learned about Milagro in 2020. She said after she got shot. At that time, she was still friends with her ex-best friend, Kelsey. Remember, Kelsey was the one that was in the car when all this stuff happened with Tory, who actually saw a video or a post or something that Milagro had put on the internet about Meg the Stallion. And so she showed it to Meg. So that's supposed to be how she even knew that Milagro existed. So then they say, you said former best friend. Why aren't you friends with her anymore? And I said, that's what I want to know. Like, I've been wanting to know for a while. I didn't understand that. And it was actually a lot of people that I noticed use that because they weren't friends anymore, as if that is some type of evidence of everybody's Kelsey's conspiracy. And she explained that today. This is what she said. According to her, she said, according to her, she believes that Kelsey took a bribe from Tory not to say anything. She said even after Tory beat her up that night, she said she had scratches, she had all this on her, and she said that Tory had beat her up that night. She said even though Tory beat her up, she still met in private. She said she was, I'm not gonna say upset. She said she was what's the word? She didn't appreciate. That's what she said. She didn't appreciate the fact that she met with Tory in private after all of this stuff happened. So once she found out she met with Tory in private, she was like, she ain't want to deal with Kelsey no more. So there was that. Mm-hmm. She said there was no fight between Kelsey and her, as she testified to. So that's going to come up again because, that's a big thing. So then they asked her about getting information from Milagro. She said people send her stuff all the time about Milagro. So they asked her, well, why did you file this lawsuit? Some people were like, we want to know this too, because we keep hearing about all these other people that have been doing the same thing. So she answered that question. She said she was tired of dealing with her, Milagro, carrying this narrative that she is a bad person. She said that she is a person that would lie on an innocent man and send them to jail for something they didn't do. She said, regardless, that is the narrative she's putting out there, that she is the type of a person that would literally lie on someone and send them to jail for something that they didn't do. And then she said the way Milagro speaks on her family, speaks on her friends. She said, and then on top of that, she sent people over there to watch that deep fake video of her. And she says she does not care. Milagro don't have to like her music. She don't care about none. That's fine if she don't like her music. But you can't just team up with this man and continue to harass and bully her online, and she wants it to stop. So that is why she sued her. So then they said, well, you heard of other names brought up in this trial. She said, they said, yeah, like Joe Budden, academics, Aiden Ross. And she says she believes all of those people are influenced by Tory Lanez too. So then they said, why aren't you going after the bigger platforms? Said that's what the world wants to know. That's what people keep saying, right? That is really what the defense's argument is. Why aren't you going after the bigger platform? She said that Milagro keeps comparing herself to a Joe Budden in this trial, but he is an artist, an older guy in his like 50s who had one big song, that one of the biggest songs in the world, and he probably don't ever have to make a song again. And even though he has this big song, he still only has 1 million followers. I was like, oh my. She said he ain't that big like y'all making it seem like it is, because he got the biggest song in the world, probably never got to make a song again, but he only got 1 million followers. So then she said DJ Academics, he aligns himself with other rappers and he gets co-signed by other rappers as well. And all these guys that they're talking about, she said they're already famous. So she emphasized they are already famous. But Milagro, she gained her fame and attention because of her. And she said she is the only person that is bragging about her relationship with Tory, bragging about her relationship with his dad, calling her out of her name, digging up ex-boyfriends, and the only person who sent people over to that deep fake video. That's why I'm suing her. She said. So for those that wanted to know why, that is why. So then she explains how, social media works, which I thought was pretty good, because the issue that a lot of people are having with these journalists are not able to just come in and catch you in on the trial. Why? Because if you're not familiar with the criminal trial, you're not familiar with social media and how it works, not familiar with the stuff on YouTube, you will be lost. You're kind of like looking at all of this where it feels like high school all over again, but people don't really understand the substance of it. And if you don't have all of the moving parts, you really don't understand. So what she explained was that you can have 40,000 followers, but that doesn't mean that you have a low number of engagements, which is true. We know people that have 200,000 subscribers, but they might have 200 people watching them. So just because you have a bunch of subscribers doesn't mean that everyone is consistently engaging with your platform. You may get people to subscribe to your page, but they may never come back after they subscribe. But you may have more engagements and impressions. So she still has a decent number of engagements and impressions. So plus she said, when you have smaller platforms, which is true, when you have smaller platforms, sometimes bigger platforms will pick up your work. So when you say something that's clickbaity and it seems like it's gonna bring engagements on bigger platforms, they will use your work and take it over to their platforms as well. So she explained that. So then they asked her, well, why did you wait until 2024 to sue her? She said because she thought that after he was found guilty, everyone would move on. But that didn't happen. She said, it seems like to me, a woman, speaking of Milagro, who is a mom and a wife, would find something else to do. Okay. So then they asked her, well, how do you feel about the video? The video we're referring to, for those that don't know, is Tory Lanez did a video and he was chopping up a horse leg. Okay. Well, let me not talk about that video yet. Let me talk about the deep fake. So she found out the deep fake. We all know, we talked about it yesterday. She was on the tour bus. Ferris, her big brother, and one of her managers came and showed it to her on the tour bus. And also, she saw people that were saying that Milagro told people, I guess, to go over there and to look at her likes. So she was directing people over there. And she like, dang, my grandma's still alive. This is her, her mom's mom is still alive. And she was like, I'm going to have to explain this to my grandmother. I know she's going to ask about it, even though I know that it's fake. She said, whether the video is fake or not, she says she feels like Milagro wants it to be real. So when she saw the public reaction of the video, that's when Meg sent out the tweet and they put it up on the screen that basically said that she's really sick, how y'all go out of your way to hurt her. You guys are going too far. And that's when she pretty much was like, y'all about to get sued. She didn't say those words, but the last line she had on there, she explained that that's what it meant, that she was about to be filing them papers, okay? So then she said that she's never listened to Milagro's lives before. Like, she never just went over there and said, oh, let me see what she's saying on Instagram. Let me go see what she's saying on Station Head. She said that people just send her clips of what Milagro has to say. And she was like, but she says the same stuff over and over again, very, very redundant. She says she calls me a liar. She calls me a hoe. She calls me a drunk. She says Tory's coming home. And she just does this over and over and over and over in different ways. So it's not like she's saying anything new. She just basically repeats the same thing. So then they play an October 3rd, 2024 audio where Milagro says, and we talked about this yesterday, or maybe when Milagro was on the stand, that said, where she said a prominent blogger says that she has a drinking problem, she needs AA, she's in therapy, and she needs AA, and Meg says she feels like all of that when she's saying stuff like that is just talking points from Tory. And her thing was, and she said it before, she never planned on even telling about being shot. Because from my understanding, when Tory was arrested, it was because of the gun was in the car. So he had a gun charge. She did not tell on Tory for like a couple of months. So it wasn't like whenever the detective called her is when she told. And she said she was going to just let it go heal and keep it moving. She never planned on talking. But she said Tory got online trying, I guess, get in front of it. And he started spinning these narratives. And so that's why she felt like she had to say what happened when she went online and talked about it. And then when the detective called, she was like, it was Tory, like it was J. Star Peterson who shot me. So basically what she's saying is Tory's talking is what got all of this stuff started. I said when that detective called, she was like, he shot me. It was him. So then they showed on the screen that on October 13, 2020, there was a protective order in place where Tory couldn't come near her, communicate with her, communicate her through third parties, like all of that. That's in a protective order. Then on January 9, 2025, she got another protective order, probably when that one expired. Like, I think it was supposed to automatically maybe turn over or something, and it didn't. So she had to go in and get another protective order because at this time, now she had already been thinking that Milagro was working with Tory. So people were like, why would you get one when you in prison? Well, the protective order also says communication through third parties and all of that. So that's why she felt like she needed to make sure that protective order was in place. And what made her really believe that they were working together was she saw the pictures of Milagro and Tory's dad, Sunstar. I guess it was on the internet. And she said before he went to jail, like back in 2020 and whenever they got cool, Tory started posting happy birthday to her. And, it was obvious that they were coming out. She was bragging that they were friends and they were supposed to do this podcast together. So that's where she came with y'all working together to try to take her down. She also saw the tweet with the DNA, and she said that tweet came out before court even started. So that was another indication. Oh, she working with them to try to put this type of narrative out on the internet, and it's making her look bad type situation. And she was like, she thinks that people still think she got shot, partially, I guess, based on that tweet. And that tweet was incorrect regarding DNA because it was inconclusive. He couldn't be included or excluded. So then they talk about the Tory, the chop leg video. Okay, the horse leg video. So she felt like when she saw the video, she said she felt like nobody cared that she got shot. Everyone thought it was funny. It was crazy that a man that shot her makes a music video of chopping a horse leg's feet like her life doesn't matter at all. Then she said she started feeling that way about herself, like it didn't matter to her anymore. So then they showed the screenshots of Milagro's post where Milagro was screenshotting different parts of the video. And so they showed when Milagro tweeted out one of the screenshots where she's laughing, asking Tory if that was a horse leg, laughing like, is that a horse leg? And Meg was thinking, why does this black woman think this is funny? Why do you think violence against me is so funny? Would you like it if somebody did that to your daughters? Because she's somebody's daughter too, and it's not funny. And she got really emotional when she was crying as well, when she was describing how she felt when she saw that video from Tory. Then they showed a comment, which was under the Mob Radio, post. I don't even know if maybe Instagram. I don't know what platform, but it was under Mob Radio, and it had it says, quote, I know that ain't no horse leg, end quote. So this is still like on all of this with these screenshots from this video. Then it was another one that said, she said, I'm a sucker for details. What does the chalkboard say? So when you see the picture of Tory with his leg, it's in the background, there's a chalkboard and there's little things written on the chalkboard. So what the plaintiff did was Meg's team, they blew it up so you can see what was written because it was real light. And on the chalkboard, it said HGS. So they said, well, what do you think that means? And she said she took it to mean hot girl summer. Because remember, that's like her moniker. That's her thing. And so she feels like Milagro created a space for people to talk negatively about her and to harass her. And then on March 12th of 2022, she sent the screenshots to herself because she said at this point, she was keeping track and sending the things she saw online to her manager, and she wanted to sue her back then. So back in 2022, she been collecting receipts after receipts after receipts after receipts because she wanted to sue her. Then they showed a post of Milagro who had gotten a police report. You know, that's the big thing. The police report said that she stepped on glass and all of that. So she said that was another thing. So now she's like, oh, okay. So now they're going to try to do this narrative that she really didn't get shot, even though they seen or didn't have the bullet fragments were in her, even though you could see the bullet fragments in her foot to know that she got shot. And so she felt like this was just Tory pushing the narrative again that she wasn't shot. Then she said there was a time, you guys know, when it was that whole situation of her trying to get out the record deal. And she said that the man she was arguing with to get out that record deal was supporting Tory. All of a sudden, he started trying to be petty and he started supporting Tory. And she said, so she was mad about that. It triggered her when he started doing that. So she said, here come Milagro coming to his defense. She said anybody that doesn't like Meg, Milagro aligns herself with. So then they showed a post where she says that where Milagro says that Meg's father was an alcoholic and he was on drugs. The grandfather was an alcoholic and her mom was a thief. And she said she got paperwork. Don't deny it because she got paperwork. And she was like, she doesn't understand where she was getting the information from. She's like, where is she getting this information? Because she never heard that about her mom. She never knew about anything about her mom supposedly having some type of record. So she said she called her grandma because she like, the girl said she got paperwork. Like, what? Do you know anything about my mother supposedly stealing something or having a record? And she said her grandma didn't know anything about it. So she called her mother's best friend, who like been her best friend since she was small. And apparently the best friend said there was a time where her and the mom went to Walgreens or went to some type of drugstore, and they had in their late teens, like they were in college or about to go to college or something. And she said they stole something from the drugstore. And so she was like, that's basically on how she found out. She was like, she didn't know nothing about it. So then she said she insinuates that her dad used drugs. She said, I've never known my father to use drugs. And she said he took care of her and her mom. She's like, he did go to prison though. Now he did go to prison, but she never known him to do drugs. So she said, and both of her parents are dead. So why are you talking about people that can't even defend themselves? What does that have to do with anything? Why would you talk about people that aren't even here to defend themselves? Then when she was talking about the grandfather, she said her grandfather, she don't even know them. She never even knew them. So how you know her grandfather alcoholic? She said, these people you never met that I ain't even never met. She said one grandfather died before she was born, and another grandfather died when she was 2. So how you got this information about a granddaddy that she don't even know about? So then they showed a text message from Meg from September 14, 2022. And it was to Des, DES, and it said Rock Nation. She said that was a manager or something, but I saw that it said Rock Nation in parentheses. And it said, she made sure, she said, now this is September 14, 2022. She asked her, are you keeping everything from that lady in a folder? And they said, well, why did you ask that? She said, because I wanted to sue her. So this has been something that has been going on, that's been in the works for a while. But once she did that deep fake video situation where it was the promotion, that's when she pulled the trigger. But she had been watching what she was doing for a while, and that's why they have all of this stuff. And that's probably partly why they knew some of the stuff wasn't there anymore as well. But so then she described her going to therapy. We heard about that yesterday, that $240,000. She said she just didn't understand why someone would think she deserved to be shot just because she talks about sex, twerking, and drinking. Like somehow they're equating that like she deserved to be shot. She didn't understand how people would be upset with her, and she was the one that got shot. So that was some of the things that she was working with. It was an inpatient situation, so she was living there. And she said she took one of her dogs, and I think Ferris went too. So they both went for this inpatient therapy. So then she gets into the shooting. She said that she told the police after being shot that she stepped on glass. She said because she didn't want to see anybody dead. She said, regardless to say, oh, my leg is bleeding because somebody shot me, she thought that would be costing everyone's life in that climate. So she was trying to protect everyone in the car. She didn't want to admit that a gun was involved, and she thought that not mentioning it would protect people. And well, obviously she said she was wrong because it was being used against her. So then they talked about when she was in the car that the night of the shooting, she said that she and Kelsey were arguing with Tory. So they were arguing against Tory because she said everybody was drinking. She got out of the car. We kind of heard this part of the story. She got out of the car. She was walking down Sunset Boulevard. She gets back in the car. They somehow convince her to get back in the car. They go, they drive a little bit and they stop. She gets out the car again. That's when she says Tory shot her. She said her back was turned, but she was able to look down and she looked back and she seen the gun was in his hand. She said after she was shot, she crawled up to some neighbor's driveway. And that's why they had like the blood trail that we saw. And she said when they got back in the car, Tory said, "Don't say anything. I give y'all $1 million." So he was telling people don't say nothing because he'll break them off a couple dollars if they don't. So then we get to the Gayle King. That is another issue because y'all know she lied on Gayle King. So she said that when she went on Gayle King, she thought they were just going to talk about the shooting. So when she was asked about sleeping with Tory, she was like, oop, it took her off guard. And she said she's already tired of everybody somehow equating her sex life with this shooting, and she got shot. So the first thing she did was she was like, no. Like that was the first thing that she thought. She said she was embarrassed and all of that. And she said, listen, I know we done all at some point, people done lied and been embarrassed about who they done slept with. She said Tory is the biggest embarrassment of people that she has ever slept with. Like y'all can relate. Y'all got people y'all regret sleeping with. Yeah, that one right there that y'all saw, that person on that video that was acting like that earlier this morning. That's the one that I'm embarrassed that I slept with. I said, well. But she said at trial, she admitted she slept with Tory. So again, the claims for those that don't recall, the claims that they are arguing in court is that defamation, and it was the different, I think it was 2 posts in a video. One of the videos she was on Academics, of which she said basically was accusing Meg of lying on the stand, which would be perjury, which is a crime. And that is defamation per se when you accuse someone of a crime. Going on Gayle King and talking is not a crime, even if you lie. Me talking to you online is not a crime, even if I lie. Might be unintegral, but it's not a lie. But when I go on the stand, I'm under oath to tell, and I promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And that's when you're supposed to tell the truth. So even though people keep bringing up all this outside stuff, they're pulling in that you haven't shown where she lied when she was on the stand. Okay? So she said at trial, she actually admitted that she slept with him. So she said before the shooting, she and Tory were good friends. They bonded because both of their moms had passed away. So then they showed the x-ray on the screen of her foot with all the fragments and stuff in it. So just in case the jury wasn't clear, like, yeah, she really was shot. And she thought that the guilty verdict would vindicate her, but she said the hatred got louder. Milagro kept putting things out there like Tory was innocent. And she said Tory tries to prove that he is innocent through other people, but not himself. In other words, you didn't even take the stand to try to defend your own self. But you got other people out here trying to defend you and say that you are innocent. She said, y'all come closer. Megan P says she believes in her heart that Milagro knows that Tory is not innocent. That's what she believes in her heart. So then that's when they showed like the video of her being interviewed by academics, and she made a statement. We can go down a long list to show how she lied on the stand. So that is one of the whole defamation. Then there was like the one where she said, you guys think it's okay, you think it's funny, this man, it could be your cousin, your brother, your uncle who goes to jail for 20 years for something they didn't do, with non-credible witnesses, little to no evidence, blah blah blah. You know, that post, that tweet, she felt like the non-credible witness pertained to her, so it's that one. Then I think it was another post, I can't remember what it was, but all of them was inferring that basically she lied on the stand, and that is why he is convicted. So then this was very interesting. I was like, man, this is just wow. So Milagro, they put up a video that she does, and in this video, she's going off, and she's basically calling Meg. She said, Meg, something about her, she just slow, and she's mentally retarded. And in this video, when she's showing it, she's talking. It doesn't show, her face. She's not doing like a live like this. She doesn't show her face, but she has a video kind of playing in the background, and it's of Meg the Stallion. But you don't, well, it's just Meg on the video, and you see her face with a big afro. But you really didn't know. Of course, the sound wasn't on there, so you really didn't know where it came from. Apparently, so her team puts up the video of where Milagro got that from. It was one of Meg's videos. She has started a suicide prevention hotline, and she played it. And it basically was saying, you're not alone. If you need anyone to talk to, you can call this number. And it was like a website, www, something about some hotties and all of that. So she says she created it because she was opening up an avenue for people that may not have had anyone to at least reach out to talk to someone. She said, because she's been in that space where suicide was an option. And she said, so to have her play that while she was calling her retarded and all that, it was just, when you seen what the actual video was, it was like, wow, okay. So then they asked Meg how she felt when she saw the picture, the screenshot that Milagro had a picture of her house on her phone. So I told you yesterday she had pictures in her phone. It was Aerial Vision or the day before, one of them days. And it showed she had pictures of Meg's home. And so they asked her, was that your house? And she said, yes, it is. It is my house. Like, that's where I live at. And she said she felt like when she saw that, like, wow, this lady is really a dangerous person. And she was wondering, like, what did she plan on doing to me? Like, what did she plan on doing to me? Then when Emil, who was, or what is his name? Nora King, whatever his name is. I keep messing his name up. The friend Emil, who testified this morning, watch that video that's from this morning when we get off of here, who testified this morning, he said that it's a lot of doxing going on. He said that he actually specifically mentioned when he was on there that he seen her go after Tasha K, Armand Wiggins, and Storm Monroe. And he said he thought that they were coming for her, and that's why she was doing that, back. But she was just getting a little dark, and it was, so she said when she heard this is what she does, that to hear that testimony, it was disturbing for her today to hear that. And then to know her stuff was, in the phone. So then they asked her, well, how has this affected your life? And she said that at one time she didn't care to live or die. She got tired of waking up. She said, quote, I just want to die. And then she said one day she was like, I bet that's what they want. This is probably what Milagro and Tory want. They want to torment me until I want to take my own self out of here. So what I'm going to do is I am going to help someone with my situation. I am going to handle this in a way that other people may be able to look at this, and this is going to benefit and help some people in the future. So this is what I want you all to do. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, because now we are on cross-examination. Okay. So Meg did not finish today, so she'll be there in the morning. We're only supposed to be there for a half a day. Looks like the trial now won't end until Monday, because Milagro was called in the case in chief for Megan Thee Stallion, for Megan P. And then Milagro, of course, and put on her own case. And when they did cross-examination of her, they only did it for like 45 minutes. But apparently they want to put her on the stand. So now this has stretched it out, when at first everyone thought it was going to end after Meg. Like she was the grand finale. So it doesn't look like that. It looks like they're putting Milagro back on the stand so that they can, I guess, elicit and bring out more stuff. Perhaps she's going to explain her relationship with Emil. Perhaps she's going to explain some of these videos that came out that look kind of bad. Now, what I will say before we get into this cross, I don't understand why with Tory Lanez, you guys, if you watched that video earlier, they haven't done anything that would benefit her in this trial. Everything has been like, okay, this is a whole circus and a little clown group. That's what it looks like. Because you got Tory up there acting like a fool, cussing people out. You got the daddy praying before you get on there, talking about Meg Thee Stallion is sex demon and all this stuff. Then you got Caesar, who was the attorney that was actually representing Milagro first, who gets on there and he's talking about, can I roll up? I don't recall. I don't know. I don't recall. How are y'all not at least at minimum being like, no, she just believed in our cause and da 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 da, instead of being so combative and so it's like awful. Like it's nothing that has to be presented. She's literally going to be out here just defending herself and her behavior on her own. You see what I'm saying? Do y'all feel me? Is it just me? But I was just sitting there like, how do y'all not? She literally risked doing all of this. I mean, she can say she believes in it, but she did go hard in the paint. And I know that's her testimony that she really believed in all of this. But I just felt like they was gonna bring it. You know what I'm saying? I thought the daddy was gonna come like, no, she's a great person. That's not what she meant to do. She came and she presented things to me that I didn't even think of. And she just really, with her criminal justice background, something. Then you get Tory, they gotta keep going and making him. Then you get fined $20,000. So now he got an adverse inference on some of his questions. It's just so much. It's like, why? I don't know. So anyway, I'm just generally speaking, guys. I'm not one way or another. So the cross-examination, of course, they start out by talking about the glass in the foot and how she told the police, and then she told the EMS about the glass, that she had stepped on glass. And they put up the medical records, I guess, where it said, and maybe I know the police report said it. I don't know if they ever found it in the. Oh yeah, it was a statement, I think, in the medical records where when you give your own history. She said, yeah, she stepped on glass. So they put that up there. And she kept saying, I didn't tell. They said, why did you tell people you stepped? She said, I didn't tell people I stepped on glass. I told the police. That's who I told. I didn't tell people. It just got, well, how did people find out it stepped on glass? I don't know how they found out. Probably all them reports people were getting to put out there. So she thought the police report, when Milagro put the police report out, that's probably how, people became aware that it was, that she even made that story up in the first place and said she stepped on glass. She said she mentioned the Gayle King again. They said, but you lied on Gayle King. She said, well, the Gayle King, the purpose she thought was to talk about the shooting, not to talk about her sex life. So she said that again. And so when it came to Kelsey, this is what was interesting. They said, well, weren't you arguing with Kelsey in the car about you having sex with Kelsey and she had sex with Kelsey? She said, no, me and Kelsey were arguing against Tory, and then Tory brought it up that he was having sex with me, trying to be petty. It was just a comment that he made. And she was like, I've never known. Y'all get this? She says, Megan Pete says she has never known Kelsey and Tory to ever have any type of relationship, including sexual, with each other. So then they pull up the transcript of Kelsey at the trial, and I guess Kelsey uses the phrase she was mad, I guess, at Megan because she backdoored her. So they said, well, what did she mean by she backdoored you then? Like, if there was nothing between them, what do you mean that she backdoored you? And she said, I don't know what she meant by backdoored you. Door me. I don't know what it means. She said, does it mean because you slept with Tory? It could be. She said she don't know what she's talking about. She said she knew that Kelsey liked Tory, and she expressed that she liked Tory, but Tory never liked her. So she said at that time, she said that Kelsey was actually, she wasn't in California anymore. She had moved away or something. She wasn't there. She said Kelsey had a boyfriend. So she can't say that Kelsey still liked him at the time of all of this, but she didn't want Kelsey to know that she was sleeping with Tory or messing with Tory in that way because she knew Kelsey liked Tory. So she was trying to spare her little feelings because Tory never liked her. That was just somebody she had a crush on. That was some new information. I was like, oh, really? And so then they asked her, well, didn't you get some backlash when you lied on Gayle King? Because, of course, they want to say that a lot of this stuff, a lot of people don't like you. It's kind of their thing, their theme. And she said, yeah, I got some backlash from lying on the Gayle King show. So then they showed a clip from the documentary again where she said she lied about the Gayle King and why she lied. And she pretty much said the same thing, that it caught her off guard. She didn't know that they were even going to bring it up. She thought they were just going to talk about the shooting. And they were taken away from the shooting, trying to talk about her sex life. And so that's what she was trying to run from. So that was the same thing. So then they asked her, well, isn't it true that the doctor said you never had nerve damage? And she was like, what doctor are you talking about? So they pulled up some documents, and there was a lot of rigmarole going on in the courtroom. They couldn't find the transcripts. They trying to look for the transcript. We all sitting back like, what's going on? They putting up the wrong transcript. She's looking at it like, I don't know, what is this? This is Medizian, isn't that Tory's attorney? Like, what is in this transcript? So then the guy that's doing the cross-examination, he got people at the table, but he's still coming back trying to find the exhibits that he's asking them to put up for him when she needs her recollection refreshed. And even though she wasn't even in there, so I don't even know how that would even refresh her recollection, but okay. So she ends up pulling it up, and it basically was saying, I guess the doctor said she didn't have nerve damage on the left side or something. It ain't like totally say she didn't have it. It was like some side of her foot didn't have a nerve damage. So everybody looked at each other like, that's what all of this moving around was to get this little piece of information. So yeah, it took a little minute to get that document. So then she did say that Tory, when Tory shot at her feet, he said, dance biatch. He said that. So she did mention that when he said that. And so they said they played the ring camera, of the shots. They have played it, I think, on direct too. And in the ring shots, they said, tell me where it says in the ring camera. Do you hear anyone say dance bitch in the ring camera? She's like, no. So they said, so then they pull up. She said, so you're saying that it's not in the ring camera. You can't hear it. So then they say, well, Kelsey said that on her testimony, she asked, did you know that Kelsey said that didn't happen in her testimony too? That Kelsey didn't hear that either. She said, well, Kelsey didn't even remember whether she saw blood or not in the car either. So are we really relying on Kelsey the way she testified? Like, cut it out. That's kind of how I respond. Kelsey didn't, like, y'all using her as an authority? Are you serious? Like, did you see what she did at trial? So then they said, did you and Kelsey have a physical fight? She said no. So then, of course, they pull up Jaquan's affidavit. So, of course, Jaquan's affidavit was like maybe a day or two before trial. I think it was like sometime in December 2022. So she was like, they said, have you seen it? She said, the first time I saw it was here. And so she said, well, Jaquan, I want you to read paragraph such and such and such and such. So they put the affidavit up, and Jaquan is saying that her and Kelsey got into a fight and whatever in this affidavit. And Meg is reading it, and she's reading it all animated. Like, she's like reading this. I wish I had the actual affidavit, because the way she was reading it was like, and then Kelsey and Meg started fighting. Like, this is how she's reading it, like she's reading a script or something, because apparently she like, this a bunch of BS in this whole affidavit. So she reading it like it's the fake script that she thinks that it is. So she says, basically, she said, well, they said, do you believe this affidavit is fake? I believe everything in this. She said, I believe what he's saying in here ain't real. Say, you believe this affidavit is fake? I believe that what he's saying right there is a lie. That's why he wasn't in court. That's why couldn't nobody find Jaquan. She said that's why he didn't submit this in court, because he knew it was a lie and he didn't want to have to say that under oath. So they pull up an article that says, witness says, this is the article, Meg Thee Stallion, witness says she fought female friend. And it was like some article, then it was some objection. So it ended up coming down. So we really didn't understand what they was about to do with that article. So then the defense said, so you saying Kelsey lied, Jaquan lied, Tory lied, when he got on live, and you admitting that you done lied. So basically, everybody done lied. Nobody's been 100%. And he was like, she said, I feel like you want me to say, this how she talking. She kind of smiled a little bit. We was like, okay. It's like, I feel like you trying to get me to say like something with the shooting. She said, regardless, yes, I lied about Gayle King. I lied on Gayle King about sleeping with him, and I lied about the glass. But my story never changed about the shooting. She said Tory's story done changed how many times about the shooting? She said first, he said they was wrestling with the gun. He said she stepped on glass. She said she took that like he was saying it could have been that she shot herself. So first they was wrestling with the gun. And then he went with the glass scenario. No, she said first she was never shot. Then they was wrestling with the gun as if she might have shot herself. Then it was the glass, and then it was Kelsey shot her. So I've always said Tory shied me when it came to the story. Y'all done came with four different stories on what happened. My story has stayed the same. So then they pull up the documentary that she did. And in the documentary, she has like this little cartoon character where she talks about that when she was a kid, people teased her because she was tall. And so she went home. She said she was so sensitive and she would cry and she would go home and she told her mom, she's like, Mom, they talking about me. And basically her mama like, girl, you beautiful. You tall, you better embrace it. You a model. Don't let nobody, talk to you like that. And that was like when she got that type of confidence. And so she said, so that was that. So that was what the clip was, talking about it. So then he said, wouldn't you agree that you said that you were sensitive and you had emotional issues? I guess when it came to, she talking about, you mean when I was a child? Said, didn't you say like you easily cry? Yeah, like any other child that's getting bullied at school. Yeah. Like, what do you think children do? Y'all hit that like button, please. I know good and darn well ain't no 281 likes on here, and it's 600 and something of y'all. Come on now. Get them likes up. And then they showed a video of her drinking. She had like a Hennessy and she had a straw and she was drinking and the song came on and it was the song Ratchet and she had like a little alcoholic beverage and she had the straw. I was waiting on that to happen where they was going to show one of her lives or something where she was twerking in the background and she had the little cup and stuff and she was drinking. So they showed that and she had some guy in the background or whatnot. So they ended up showing that video and she was like, do you want me to like give context to the video? And she was like, she told her followers that if she dropped the song and it went to #1, then she'll do what she used to do before. So I guess she said, I don't even drink Hennessy anymore. She drinks tequila or something. She said, but she stopped drinking that when she said at that time she wasn't even drinking it anymore. She said, if you watch the video to the end, you'll see the Hennessy never moved as far as going down. She said when she got into her health and all of that, she don't drink that. So she said, but back when she was doing this in 2019, I guess that's what she used to do was have the Hennessy drink. And when she would make these milestones or something, that's how she would celebrate. So she said she told them, and this is around the time, I guess, that Nicki Minaj had made a song and was talking about her drinking. So that's why she decided to do this, I guess, to be funny when it came with Nicki Minaj. And that's when she said, this is what y'all keep trying to do. Y'all keep trying to bring up Nicki Minaj's name so y'all can have something to talk about and to tweet about when all of this is over. Yes, I did this video and this song and stuff, and I did what I did because of Nicki Minaj. Okay. But he was like, so she's like, y'all keep trying to talk about this lady during this trial so y'all can have something to talk about and make it your little titles and your headlines. But she was like, yeah. So she did say the song was toward Nicki Minaj. And then when the attorney was about to do the next question, she said, is this another Nicki Minaj question? Is this another Nicki Minaj question? Because I just want to know. So he was like, no. So she did say, she said, everyone's seen her drink before. Everybody has seen her intoxicated before. And so they asked her about the shade. So it was a clip. They put the shade room clip where they clipped where she was talking about she would be drinking and partying. And basically her friends would just be letting her be out here drinking and stuff. And they weren't telling her she need to stop and she need to, watch herself and all of that. They was just letting her be out here wilding or whatever. So it was on the shade room. So they said, does the shade room ever say anything nice about you? And she kind of smiled a little bit and she was like, well, I feel like with the shade room, she said, it's like even if it's something kind of nice, they find a way to twist it where it sounds shady. I mean, it's the shade room. And they were like, so people, they want to get on the shade room, right? That's what the attorney said. She said, some people do, I'm sure, but I don't. Like I don't want to get on the shade room. So then they said, the shade room's not run by Milagro Cooper, is it? She said, I don't know. Then she said, you know what? Shoot, it might be. I don't know. So I don't know what the heck, who run the shade room or whatever. Then they asked her about, they put up the video from her documentary where she said at some point she was drinking and she was fighting, but the worst thing that she was doing, she was drinking like a MFer and all of that. On this was like clips from her documentary. So she put this out herself. So they was like, you put this out yourself, didn't you? She's like, yeah. And she was like, I'm like, the only thing that she said, the only thing they could really say about her, she's a hoe, she drinks, always worrying about who her partners are. And she said the worst thing they can say is that she has sex and she drink alcohol. She said, I do, but that doesn't mean that I deserve to be shot. I have sex, she said, and I drink, but that doesn't mean that I deserve to be shot. And they said, well, did Milagro ever say that because you drink and twerk that you deserve to be shot? And she said, no, she never specifically said it that I know of. She said, but her behavior shows that that's how she feels by her behaviors. Then she said, you know what? Maybe she did specifically say that. And I just don't know if she said it or not. So then they broke for the end of the day. So they'll be back doing cross-examination on tomorrow. Any questions? Any questions? Let me get my minds. People aren't here for the tea but won't hit the like button. Pam, they need to put in on members, hit the like button. Yeah, I need y'all to hit the like button. I don't want to put it on members only if I don't have to, because I know everybody is not a member. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, please. Her only number one came because she dissed Nikki How Tragic for her career. That's from Aaliyah TV. Tory and Meg went live a few times showing them hanging out with each other. There was also the lick of them posing with him up on her booty, so he called Meg his girl. Yeah, I heard that around the pandemic they hung out together a lot, and that came up during the trial as well. That's where a lot of that came from. So let me see what else. Let me see if it's something else. You said MAGA Minaj. Now I'm not doing this with y'all. Y'all talking to each other. That's what I like. I like this interaction that you guys have with each other. You said she lost her mother and grandmother 2 months apart. I would have been drinking too. Yeah, and I don't know, like, and it was her great grandmother. So maybe like it sounds like her grandmother was taking care of her great grandmother. So that probably wasn't as unexpected. Her mom sounds like that was totally not on the radar. And that was like when success started happening in her life, and at the point where you really need your mom, So yeah. Let me see if I got any super chats. Thank you, D-Doc. I appreciate that. Lucas said if Megan claims that's why he missed court, wouldn't that make it similar to Milagros accusing her of not being truthful under oath? If Megan claims that that's why he missed court, wouldn't it make it similar to Milagros accusing her of being? It's not the same because that's her opinion. Like she said, that is her opinion that he didn't come to court because he knew that what he was saying in the affidavit was a lie. So I guess in theory, if you want to say, because he say, affidavits be under oath, but I guess in theory he can say that he wasn't lying, but he wasn't subject to cross-examination. The thing about this case is that regardless to how many times she lied on online, Gayle King, wherever else anybody else caught the lies, it was not under oath. That's what perjury is. The defamation is not because she had called her a liar. The defamation comes in because she accused her of a crime, which is lying under oath, perjury. So she's accused of lying under oath. And let me pull up this verdict form real quick. I think I still have it up. Hold on. The witness list. Hold on. I have to pull it up on my thing. Hold on a second. So I want you all to see. Can you see what I see? I want you all to see this verdict form. Let's see here. Voila. Verdict form. All right. So here's the verdict form. Thank you all, everybody, for the super chats. If you guys would like to give super chats, cash apps, whatever, all are welcome. Show your support. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. Okay, let me put up this verdict form. So this is the proposed verdict form, all right? So this is what has to be proven, guys. The first count one is defamation per se, okay? Per se means you accuse them of a crime. That's one of the ways you can have defamation per se. It's for different reasons, but this is only one applicable, so we'll just say that. And that's accuse them of a crime. Question one, do you think by a preponderance of the evidence that Ms. Cooper defamed Ms. Pete by accusing Ms. Pete of perjury, a felony, by lying under oath in a criminal trial? Yes or no? Count two, promotion of an altered sexual depiction. Do you find by a preponderance of the evidence that Ms. Cooper willfully and maliciously promoted without Ms. Pete's consent a visual depiction of Ms. Pete that she knew or reasonably should have known was an altered sexual depiction? Yes or no? So I guess if they can try to show that she didn't know or reasonably should, like she didn't know it was altered, I don't know. Count three, intentional infliction of emotional distress. Do you find by a preponderance of the evidence that Ms. Cooper intentionally or recklessly engaged in extreme and outrageous conduct toward Ms. Pete? Question four, do you find by a preponderance of the evidence that Ms. Pete suffered severe emotional distress as a result of Ms. Cooper's extreme and outrageous conduct? So then you'll get to the damages. If you answered yes in any of those, then you go to the next questions. And if they answer no to all of them, you skip all the damages and you just sign your name. So if they answered yes, do you find by a preponderance of the evidence that Ms. Pete should be awarded compensatory damage against Ms. Cooper? So you say yes, and then they get to put the amount. Or no, and don't put nothing. Do you find that Ms. Pete is not entitled to compensatory damages? Do you find by a preponderance of the evidence that even if you don't find compensatory, do you find nominal? Nominal is just, yeah, we feel like she did it, but we're going to give you $5. We're going to give you $10. That's nominal damages. It's just, we got to give you some damages because you won these claims, but you might have nominal damages. So that is why the defense is I think at this point, a lot of it is focusing on there are other people who also were a part of this emotional distress. You had your childhood issues, you lost your mama, you lost your grandma, you did get shot, like all of this stuff. It ain't just, don't just blame Milagro. So that is one of the reasons why, because she can be found liable on the stuff and they say, but it's worth $1. We don't think that she should be compensated for it. Do you find by clear and convincing evidence that punitive damages are warranted? So as you all know, if you follow the Tasha K case, part of her damages where they felt like she needed punitive damages. Punitive damages is a form of deterrence. If we say it's $1 million in punitive damages, how many bloggers is going to think twice before they get fixated on someone, or they keep talking about them, or they keep harassing them or bullying them, or if that's what they feel. So that's what the punitive will do. It'll be for deterrence purposes. And then, do you find by clear and convincing evidence about the punitive, okay? And then after that, there's a signature. And then they'll say, we have a verdict. And they'll go give it to the judge. And then we'll all be in there nervous. Like, what happened? What do you guys think happened? Do you guys think she's liable or not liable? So that is how that works. So I wanted you all to see the jury instructions so you guys know. Lucas says, so it's okay for Megan to say she believes someone wasn't truthful under oath, but Milagro can say what she wants to say, but she can get sued for it. I'm not telling nobody what they can say. I didn't say anything was okay. I think that it's valid. The problem with a subpoena, let me explain to you the difference with a subpoena. If someone submits a subpoena, it holds weight for a minute. You know why it only holds weight for a minute? Because the other side does not have the ability to cross-examine you. People can say whatever they want in a subpoena. Yes, it's supposed to be under oath, and you're supposed to swear to tell the truth in front of a notary. But I don't get to cross-examine a piece of paper. If what was said in court, which is valid, if this man was going to come and say they were fighting in the car, Kelsey was pissed off, and so she shot Meg, why wouldn't Jaquan be the first witness to come on the stand on his behalf? Wouldn't be no affidavit. That would be the first person. That would be the only witness I need, because he was sober. You know what I'm saying? He ain't had no GSR. Why didn't he come to court at that time? That's a legit question. How is that not a legit question as to why? Could it be that allegedly and apparently there was an offer for money, or Jaquan allegedly, according to Kelsey, went to her and said something about we could be getting paid off this type situation? Could it be that? I don't know. But you cannot enter an affidavit. That's why when they're talking about, oh, this was under seal and they were trying to hide it. No, you cannot just use an affidavit of a one-sided person saying something and I can't confront you. Especially in a criminal case. Yes, I have the right to cross-examine you and confront you. Why didn't this man show up and say that that was the case, that she was the one that pulled the trigger? And why do we got people that have testified that the original argument was they was wrestling with the gun and they accidentally went off? How was that the original one? You're going to have to attest for that too. So that's all that I'm saying. And that's all she was saying. All she was saying was, if he was so great, why wasn't he coming to testify? Then you also, Lucas, you have to take into consideration that his own attorney, when he was trying to come after Sean Holly, remember the attorney file got released because they was trying to come after Sean Holly for what she did, felt like she abandoned them and all of that, and then said, oh, she working for the other side and all this stuff. She worked for Rock Nation and she on a show called Reasonable Doubt, and Jay-Z she executive producer on Reasonable Doubt, and Jay-Z got a song called Reasonable Doubt. Like how they was connecting all this stuff together and all these conspiracies. She had a letter where she said, I think that your Kelsey shot you is a bad theory. We can't defend that. Why would Sean Holly say they cannot defend that when they have a witness that is willing to say that I saw Kelsey do it? If you got a witness that says I saw Kelsey do it, why would the attorney say that the Kelsey shot Meg theory is not a viable theory? Why would she say that? That's all I'm saying. That's it. So anyway, thank you all so much for this great commentary. I just have to remind people of everything. We can't see, this is what happened. We get closed-minded in all lenses. I have to say what I'm gonna say what Milagro presents as what her defense is. Hey, it wasn't just me, it's a whole lot of other people. Stop coming after me. It ain't just me. But the problem is she can't say that it wasn't her at all. So it's how much weight that the jury is going to put on that. With Megan, just like all of us, we can see that. Y'all can call it freedom of speech if you want to. But now we got law about bullying, harassing, stalking. We have all of that. You have to take all of that into consideration. They're trying to say that this may be extreme and outrageous behavior, intentional infliction of emotional distress by the level of conduct and how it was piling on. You're talking about the trial is over and she's still talking about her years later. So she's going to have to combat that. That's what litigation is for. And yes, people are like, people trying to quell your speech. No, you just have to be mindful. Yes, you can say freedom of speech ain't free. Sometimes it may cost you money because you feel like you can say what you want to say. What is so, why is it so where you want to call people bitches and hoes and drunks and retardeds and all? What is that? What about that is something that you just want to engage in all the time? She didn't know why she was doing all of this. Megan was literally, when people were sending stuff, they were creating a whole folder to sue her. So when the deep fake video came, that just did it. That just is the one that pulled the trigger. And that's all. It's not, no, it's cool. 205, that's what I'm here for. I don't. Yeah, that's all. It's hard to explain things to people who refuse to accept the surgeon testimony about bullet fragments. They still want to believe the glass law. Well, honestly, that is kind of what Emil was saying. He felt like her followers almost don't even deal, like they just believe whatever she says and they hang on every word, which is what causes. And it's not her, it's a lot of people that have that type of following. You see that where you say certain names and then people gonna come in with, if you say Beyonce, people gonna come up with a bunch of B's in your platform. You say Tory, what is a bunch of umbrellas? You say Milagro, you're gonna have a bunch of bombs going off. Then you got, it's like they're gonna come in, and if you say something, then they're gonna go hard. That's what they're saying. Is that type of, we just follow behind you behavior. And sometimes that doesn't necessarily help people, it hurts people. And at the end of the day, as a content creator, when it's time to get sued, ain't nobody in the chat coming with you. So they can egg you on, make you feel like you right, laugh at you, feel like you entertainment. Oh, we love the way this is. But all this stuff of going all off and stuff is getting played. So it's a learning experience, I think, for her. I think it'll be a learning experience on how to present it. You can still, I think she has she's witty. Her commentary is like, she quick with it. She does all of that. Her stuff, some of her stuff, she can be funny, all of that. She's just gonna have to shift it in a way, perhaps, of which it's not where it's maybe so, I don't even want to say offensive, because that's not even what it is, where it doesn't cause civil liability. That's all. Ain't none of them. They not even gonna pay. When she got sued, she said, this is what she said on the stand. She knew that Unite the People was representing Tory, but she still was going to let them represent her because she didn't have money to go up against a millionaire. But you talking about a millionaire. So is there like an assumption that because you feel like you ain't got no money that they won't sue you? They still will sue you. That's the thing. So it's gonna happen what it is. They still got cross-examination. Milagros gonna get back up and she'll probably explain some things, I would assume. Some people were talking about they felt like it wasn't organized enough when it came to this a meal guy who was the best friend. I heard that they be working together. They was like together doing a lot of stuff. And Armand said he messy too. That's all he kept saying while he was next to me. He was like, he messy too. What he doing on the stand? But that's what he was kind of saying, is that he was involved in the mess and then he decided to pull back. But she didn't think Meg would single her out. Could be. He said, I love that these stars are fighting back. I love seeing new people in the chat that I ain't never seen before. Welcome. So welcome. Thank you for coming over here. Hope you guys enjoy my commentary. People are invested in Daystar Peterson like a lot of people are invested in predators in this country. Just need a man for something or others so bad they are willing to sacrifice everything. You know, some of it too may be the celebrity aspect of it. Some people like to attach themselves to celebrities. I don't know. I'm not trying to speculate, but it's been some great commentary that I think we've had today. I see everyone's perspective, and hopefully you see it from a different perspective. I'm not saying you got to change it. I'm not saying that it's better. I'm just saying it's different. And I also want you guys to take some things from a lens that I've defended defamation cases before. And I've done civil trials before. And so I'm telling you from a space of, I mean, you never know what a jury is thinking. You don't know who is going in, you know, who may be super offended by all of this stuff. You don't know. You never know which way a jury is gonna go. Some people say you win your jurors an opening statement. I've heard all type of stuff, you know. Thank you for the super chat. You said the irony in this is while Megan wasn't protected by a black man who shot her, Milagro too in the end isn't protected by the same black man. Hopefully it's a lesson for people to wake up. Very interesting. Because that really kind of, regardless, I just felt like they could have done a little bit more. Like it was just, I don't even know how to explain it, but foolish. Those videos were for like him sitting back. Oh, you ain't gotta. You just take your time. I got 10 years. Shoot, I lost my appeal. I got all day. I ain't got nothing else to do. Who? Oh, you sound like you know who he is. What you asking me for? I'm like, and then they said when you read his contempt order, he like was cussing at the lawyer, and they got the patience of Job. Because I'm like, the way they sitting up there, just like, could you please answer my question? Okay, I'll repeat that. Would you like me to repeat it, Mr. Peterson? I'd have been like, off the record. That would. Let's go off the record for a minute. Listen, sir, I don't know who you think I am, but let me introduce myself. They were very, very patient with him, and it's all of the. It can be viewed in such a negative way, the way people are just trying to avoid and be evasive. So you got Milagro. The deleting of the message for me is not that. I think the adverse inference is bad. But when you hear the expert, I just don't even think that was really as bad as they made it. They don't know what she deleted. Now, if it was around the same time as all this stuff was happening when the lawsuit was filed, we could make speculation. And now the judge is allowing the jury and said they shall say that those deleted messages would have been unfavorable to her. Now you just lost it just because, and it might have been y'all was exchanging pumpkin pie recipes or something. We don't know. So I think like they acknowledge they can't tell you what messages were deleted. So I don't, that one, it's really the adverse inference that goes to the jury that came out of that. That's the worst. But the actual like what happened and all of that, but they did a whole evidentiary hearing on it, and that's how I knew like what was being said and all of that. That's how I knew about it. So that's why I really wasn't paying that one much attention when he went up there, because I actually had the transcript of the evidentiary hearing because I was loosely following the case. So when I had some time, I was loosely following. She looked great. She did look great, and she had a good energy when she was on there. And Milagro has been looking nice as well at court. And she seems upbeat. She doesn't seem down. She doesn't seem, she not over there crying. Like she really does seem upbeat. Um, but at the end of the day, it's gonna be up to those jurors. Can you sue in civil court without demanding money? Now you have to have damages, and you can ask for $1, but you got to ask for something. And the money damages you can't even. So they have jurisdictional limits. So you can't even go like in federal court. You can't go unless you're at least claiming $75,000. That's a jurisdictional amount from a civil lawsuit. Don't step up in here unless you got some big money you asking for. A lot of circuit courts, like in state courts, I know where I am, circuit court, you have to at least be asking for 25,000. Otherwise, anything under 24,999, you go to our district court. And that's where you can say, I guess you want nominal damages of $1. You're doing it off principle. But heck, you spend about $300-400 just to file a lawsuit. So you said I'd be shaking in my boots. It's a horrible place. I'm sure it's not a comfortable space to be in, but it's not. But there were at least, I'm gonna say, two different posts that I can recall where Milagro would make statements and say, if it ain't true, then sue me. If the DNA test, she like threw out, sue me. Oh, Megan put up a post and said, what do I got to do for these people to leave me alone? Nothing. Nobody's going to leave you alone. She threatening like she going to Cardi B us and all of that. No, she going to Cardi B you. So you got your followers be hyping you up, and then you there by yourself. When you sit at that table and you got your lawyers next to you, that's what you got. Then she can't even really talk to anybody because on the other side, they watching to see if she feeding any information or whatever. That was the first question they asked her. Have you been talking to any reporters, any bloggers? It was one of the first questions they asked her when she was on the stand. You said a super chat from, let me see. Nope, I don't see a super chat from them. You said keep talking. I was getting off of here because I'm hungry. It's 10 o'clock. All right, you guys, I'll be back tomorrow. Again, it's a half a day, so I'll probably be on at about noonish, and hopefully she'll be figuring out, unless we end up like going to the beach or something first. But I probably try to get it done at noon, and we'll see what. So again, it'll be the rest of cross examination, and then if they do a redirect. But if you guys will be so kind, I appreciate all the super chats and all the support. But if you just hit the like button and subscribe, that would be great for me as far as support. And I'm glad you guys are enjoying and appreciating us coming all the way to Miami so that I can report on it firsthand. You guys have a great night. I appreciate you all again. You guys are some of the best followers in the world. And thank you to all of the new subscribers that we have as well. And I'm going to see you all tomorrow. Have a good night.